Yes, people, big up, big up, big up. Welcome back to 12th Man. If you did not check out last night's show, please make sure that you do. It was a absolute cracker. And to be honest, lots of good points made, lots of debate. Igao and Lee yet again going at it. So please make sure you go and check that one out. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've hit subscribe. And make sure you're also doing us a favor because we hit 34 last night. So thank you so much because 34K is incredible. I never thought I would hit 34K this quickly. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I will say it's humbling to say the least. Absolutely. So thank you so much. As you can see, I'm on my own at the moment. I have no idea where Lee is. Lee's late. Lee's always late, to be fair to him. But I literally can't get hold of him at all. So it might just be me today, people. So apologies because people are going to click on this thinking, it's Lee Gunner and Potts. But it might just be me. It might not be Gunner because Guns is not answering his phone. So he's either sleeping, out, busy, stuck in traffic. But I can assure you he has the link and I'm sure he'll jump on as soon as he can. Make sure you follow it in Reality Raffles on Instagram. There's an unbelievable opportunity for you to win £100,000 worth of cash. That is one of many that they have available at the moment. We've also got the Mini Cooper that is up for grabs as well. Make sure you're using the code FTM10 to get 10% off of that as well. If you would like to win the brand new iPhone 16 or £600 in cash, then you can enter the prize here as well. Also, I didn't realize how much of a collector's item this was, but apparently a lot of people are still into Lego, something that I've never been into, if I'm honest with you. However, a lot of people are, and there's an unbelievable voucher opportunity for you there as well. And we also have the tag or choice of tag watches that are available also. Now, if you go onto their website, you will see that there's an opportunity for football tickets, football stadium tours. There's unbelievable opportunities to music concerts and tribute acts and also gigs and festivals. So please make sure you head over to Reality Raffles, show them some love because they have been brilliant to us and we really do need to show them some love back. There's almost 500 of you in here already, which is absolutely insane. So please make sure you do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe, people, because last night we were able to get to 34K, which means we're very close to our next target, which is, of course, 35 and the big one, the big 4-0. So I'd love to see you guys hitting the like and subscribe on this one as well. We're going to be talking about Mikel Arteta's press conference yesterday. We're also going to be looking towards tonight's game. We're going to also talk about some of the stuff that's come out on Twitter today around some of the comments made around Mikel Arteta and also what you think of it as a panel. Because if I'm honest with you, as a chat, I do believe there's still mixed feelings about the manager. I think there's a lot of you now that are starting to question him. There's certainly more that are starting to say that he needs to go. There's definitely a minority that are still sticking by him and saying that there's definite adversity this season that he's had to deal with. That is the reasons as to why we are in the position that we are in. And there's still quite a lot of people that are suggesting that the referees, VAR and red cards are to blame this season. And that is the reason why Arsenal have not won anything. It's crazy. It is absolutely mad to me that is the reason why Arsenal are not winning this season, according to some. So look, hopefully Lee will be with us soon. It's just me for now. Big up to every single one of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's go through what I think is an absolutely crazy, crazy time for Mikel Arteta. In a press conference where I think he's made himself look rather silly. In a press conference where I think he's blaming everybody but himself. In a press conference where, yet again, I believe he's sticking up for the ownership and the board. And this, for me, just points towards everything I know what's wrong with the club. And that is the ownership, the lack of ambition, the use of a shield, which is now not Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta, the fact that he's on £15 million a year to keep quiet and to point the fingers in everybody else's direction of blame, apart from himself, the board of the owners. And that is what I heard yesterday in a press conference. And I thought that was mad. I've just got to be real with you people. I thought it was mad. I thought it was a crazy, crazy statement that he made. And I'm going to read it out. I read it last night. I'll read it again. Mikel Arteta said, if somebody told you at the start of the season that by this time you'll have 5 red cards, over half an hour in each of them that you'd have to play, you would tell me that you've lost the amount of players that we've lost. What's the bet that you're in the middle of the table at least and you're out of the Champions League? Now, let's just stop there for a second. So what he is saying is, right now, the reality is, with what Arsenal have gone through from August to February, we should be a mid-table side and we should be out of all competitions. But he's saying, look at how great I and the team are. because we're not mid-table and we're still in the Champions League. We're not a mid-table side and we're still in the Champions League. So if I said to you right now, I put together that team that started against West Ham at the weekend, would you say to me, yeah, I don't think that's finishing above Palace or Everton, but I think it'll probably be enough for relegation to avoid relegation? No, you're not. Raya, Timber, White, Calafiori, Lewis Skelly, Zinchenko, Tierney, all available at fullback. Gabriel, Saliba, and Kivior, all available to play at centre back, alongside Timber and Calafiori, who can play at centre back. Partey, Rice, Jorginho, Erdegaard, Wanyeri, Marino, all available through all of our midfield. Lewis Skelly, who can still play in midfield. And then you look at the front three and you think, okay, Trossard or Martinelli's a flip of a coin. Waneri or Saka, you're going to pick Saka, but right now he's injured, so Waneri comes in. And then, yeah, we haven't got a centre forward because Havertz and Jesus are both injured, but we're using either Marino, Sterling or Trossard there. So what you're telling me is this squad, Mikel, that you've put together, and this 11 that you put out, when it misses Havertz and Saka in the 11, which are the only two players we're missing right now, it's a mid-table side. It sounds to me like you've put together one hell of a squad then, if that's going to be the case, because I do not understand what you're talking about there. There's no way this team should be anywhere near mid-table. This team, this season, with everything that's happened around it, probably couldn't believe its luck. Now, I'm not saying we've not had injuries. I'm not saying we've not had red cards. That's beyond the point. But if you think this season you have seen a team that's scintillating and that's blitzed teams, that you have seen drop-offs from pretty much every team, that you're allowing the likes of Forest and Bournemouth, Brighton and Fulham to have a chance of European football, that means everybody has gone kaput. So it is a season like Leicester City. It is a season where City, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, Chelsea, Newcastle, they're all dropping off. Aston Villa dropping off. Brighton, Fulham, Forest, Bournemouth, they can't believe their luck. They're like, wow. Now, normally we'd like to see us fighting for European positions, but we're never normally in and amongst it. We're normally 6 or 7 points off of 7th or 8th. Not, wow, we're 2 points off 4th, all of us. That's because everybody has come down to their level. Now, I'm not taking any credit away from what Brighton have done, what Fulham have done, what Bournemouth have done, and what Forest have done. They have been phenomenal. They're brilliant to watch. Last night, I watched Brighton and Bournemouth. They were exceptional to watch. Fantastic game. Entertaining, end to end. Two teams going for it. Teams who, by the way, have been depleted with injuries. They are right now, along with Tottenham, they are the two teams that have the most injuries. And it was exceptional to watch. So then you look at what Forest have done. Nuno has got this system that he's implemented. He's got a good squad of players. He's got an ambitious owner. And do you know what? They're doing very, very well. And what's mad is they're not even in the best of form right now. And they're still where they are. In with a chance of top 4. In with a chance of European football. If they sneak 5th still, they're probably still likely to get Champions League football. So I'm sorry, but I can't sit there and say that this is a team right now that should be in mid-table. What is he talking about? Crazy. Over 1,000 in chat. Do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. Hopefully Lee will be here soon, people, for those to join in late. He should be here. I can't get hold of him. I'm hoping he's all right. Usually he's stuck in traffic or he's asleep. So hopefully he's all right. But I haven't heard from him today. So still going to check my phone to see if he's messaged back. No, he hasn't. He hasn't replied. So hopefully he'll be all right. But listen, that's the first thing. Yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is he says we should be out of the Champions League. Now, the new format, I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, I did. I thought it was entertaining. I thought it was better. But I've got to say this. We had the majority of our players fit during the Champions League. Now, people will shout back saying, no, Erdegaard was out. Yeah, I'll give you that. And maybe Marino. But other than that, we had Saka, we had Martinelli and Trossard, we had Kai Havertz, we had Jesus, we had all of our midfield bar Marino until he got his fractured elbow back. So really, past the Inter Milan game, we had our fully fit squad. So how can you sit there and make excuses saying that we should be out of the Champions League stage by now? Now, what that means is he believes by saying that this team that he has assembled, when it loses Havertz and Saka, is only good enough for mid-table to be with the likes of Brentford and Palace and whatnot. And on top of that, believes that we should have finished 25th in the table of the new format in the Champions League. So this is what he doesn't think about, this manager. He just says stuff without thinking about it. Because by Arsenal going out of the Champions League already, they would have had to have finished outside of the top 8 and lost their game, or they would have had to come 25th and completely fallen out of the new format in the league table. So what the hell is the guy talking about? Because let's just say it how it is. There is absolutely no way that Arsenal should be anywhere near mid-table or dropping out of the Champions League, even with the injuries to Saka, Martinelli and Havertz. Now, people will say to me, it isn't just them that's injured, Dan. And I'll go, okay, please explain the other players that are injured right now. Jesus and Tomiyasu. Well, that's a shock. I never saw them two getting injured this season. It's not like they've been injured for the last, 2 or 3 seasons in a row. So when we're anticipating or taking the risk of those two players staying fit, that's a ridiculously risky move, and one that you could fall on your sword for. Which is why I kept saying we have no centre-back cover and no Saka cover and no centre-forward. But we've got Tomiyasu and Jesus. Jesus can play wide and forward across the front three. Tomiyasu can play across the back line. I'm not counting those two. Well, why not? There are players, they're registered because they're never fit. I'll tell you a player who's been less injured than both of those. Kieran Tierney. The one that's always injured and the one that needs to get out of here because he can't invert. That Kieran Tierney. The one that's still our best left back because none of the others can get ahead of him or close to him unless your name is an 18-year-old Lewis Skelly, who, by the way, looks superb. I'm not saying keep Kieran Tierney. I'm saying if he goes, you've got to get rid of the likes of Tomiyasu and Jesus as well and keep it consistent. You can't say I want to keep Tomiyasu and Jesus for another year in the squad, but I want to get rid of that injury guy, Tierney, when Tomiyasu's been injured twice as much as him, as has, by the way, Partey, Zinchenko and Jesus. All been injured more than Kieran Tierney. A good player. I like him. I like Kieran Tierney. I'm not saying he's the best player at the club. I'm not saying he's one of my favourite players at the club still, right? He was one of my favourite players when we first arrived under Mikel Arteta, when he first arrived under Emery. I thought this player's got everything I want to be seeing in the club in terms of up here, his mentality, the professionalism. And I'm not saying he's not an injury-prone player. He is. But he's nowhere near the level of some of the others. My goodness. How bad. So we move on. He then starts talking about how the situation that we find ourselves in tells you that we have resilience. With the resources and the ambition that the team and every individual has, at the time, it's probably been one of my proudest moments to work in that sense. The problem is when you're there, you want more and more. Yes, we want more and more. In fact, I don't even want more and more. I just want more because I haven't even had enough yet. I haven't even had a little taste of it yet. Yeah. This is like when at a wedding you're around with the canapes and you're thinking, just wait until you get the dinner if you think that tastes nice. I haven't even had the canapes yet. Yeah, I've had nothing. I've had absolutely nothing. So I'm sick and tired, if I'm honest, of this manager making excuses. He believes this is his proudest moment. How can this be his proudest moment when he won an FA Cup in his first year? I would say, I'm honest with you, when we all thought we were in a top 4 race and he went to the stage of going towards a title race, I thought he would have been more proud there. He shouldn't be proud of this season. He shouldn't be proud of his summer. He shouldn't be proud of what he's achieved in the domestic cups. He shouldn't be proud so far of what he's done in the Champions League. And he shouldn't be proud so far of what he's done in the Premier League, drawing 8 games and losing 3. So why is he proud? Why is he proud? Now, people will say, what would Arne Slot do if he had the injuries that Arsenal had? Now, we don't know because don't know enough about Arne Slot. I've no idea. Maybe he'd struggle. Maybe he would. But I look at the players that have got injured. Other than Saka and Havertz, all of them have been injured before, haven't they? Whether it be Partey for a few weeks, or whether it be Martinelli like now for a few weeks, Jesus, Tomiyasu, they've all got injured before. You could say that Martin Odegaard, Saka, and Havertz and Ben White are all fairly durable. Why are they injured now? Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because the manager has overplayed them. That's why. Ben White was playing with an injury. Now he needs surgery. Havertz fell down on the floor against Wolves and wasn't given any rest. Twang, his hamstring goes. Bukayo Saka has played an unbelievable amount of games consistently. Was being brought on in the League Cup games, in the Champions League games, wasn't being taken off when the game was clearly won at 3-0, 4-0, and even 5-0 against Lens last season. He was still on the pitch. He's been brought on against Preston and Bolton. So please tell me why anybody expected Bukayo Saka to just keep going forever. He has injured a lot of our players. And if I'm honest with you, Saliba and Timber are my next worry. Because they're playing a lot. And do you know what? Gabriel also. How many times are we going to keep playing that centre-back partnership without any rest? In every single Champions League game, in every single League Cup and FA Cup game, and in every single Premier League game. Perhaps, just perhaps, we might need a couple of centre-back cover in the summer or transfer window. But we've got Tomiyasu. But we've got Kivior. But we've got Timber that can play there. Ben White can play there. There's so many options, Dan. Why is he not playing them then? Why have we not seen Timber at centre-back to give Saliba a rest? Why have we not seen Kivior at left centre-back to give Gabriel a rest? Why? Because they're not good enough there, are they? We clearly need two centre-backs. Yeah? Yes, this is Arsenal therapy. It is for now until I wait for Lee. That's if Lee's going to come. I still can't get hold of him. I'm not going to ring him live on stream because he might actually genuinely be busy or stuck in traffic or doing something. So hopefully we'll see him. And if we don't, it's just going to be me, guys. Look, I've got to be honest with you. I feel like the player management and squad management has been nothing short of shambolic. Now, people will say last season and this season their players have not been good enough. There's not been adequate cover. Well, that's the manager and the board's fault then. Because last season we did the same. Why is he always playing him? We've got Vieira on the bench. Doesn't trust him. Why is he not playing Reece Nelson or bringing him on? Doesn't trust him. Why is Smith Rowe not getting? Doesn't trust him. He's been sold. What about Eddie Nketiah? He's been sold. What about the likes at the back of the Jorginhos and the Cavillos? It doesn't trust them enough to start them. So what the hell is going on with the squad management still? Because now we're seeing players like Saliba struggling for fitness and struggling for form, by the way. People are saying he's looking half the player at the moment. Gabriel is a monster, but he just seems to keep going and going and going. When is he going to crack? Timber's come back from an ACL this season. When is he going to fall down? Ben White has only literally just come back from a long-term operation and injury. What is he going to be like? We haven't seen him yet. What's Saka and Martinelli and Havertz going to be like when they do return? What's Jesus and Tomiyasu going to be like when they do return? This is all very, very risky. This is all crystal ball stuff, people. We don't have a clue, do we? People, there's 1.5k in here, man. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. How many likes have we got? We've only got 277. Let's get it up to 1,000 likes. Come on. I believe in you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Let's get us to 35k. That's the next target. So come on. Let's do it, people. So that's Mikel Arteta. Then he says in the last paragraph of this segment, I am not going to stop. Over my dead body. Are we going to stop thinking that way? Over my dead body, are we not going to be putting everything we possibly can to increase that probability of us winning? Being better than the opponent and hitting that performance and those standards constantly, regardless of what happens. Do you know what that sounds like to me? Pressure's off. But I won't give up. I won't give up. Oh, my words. Over my dead body. Do you know what? Matty said it right last night. He said, over my dead body, are we signing Raheem Sterling in the summer? Over my dead body, are we not bringing anybody in January? Over my dead body, are we not going to give it our all this season? Those three things all should have been said, but only one of them has been: when the pressure's off. Now, a lot of people are talking about saying that this is actually a pressure off game tonight and Arsenal are going to win. I just don't think Arsenal are playing well enough tonight to win. I don't think we're anywhere near good enough to win. That's what I believe. And that's sad, because really we should be looking at it with a little bit of positivity, thinking, yeah, do you know what? We've still got to put the pressure on. Let's give it our all. Let's go. But everyone's done. They're deflated. They're just meh. We know what's going on. We know what's happening here. Thought that was Lee then, but it's not. So, look, I don't know what else to say other than I believe the season is over. The only thing I'm clinging on to is that we can see how far we can progress in the Champions League. And that's not me believing we can win it. That's me. I want to get through PSV to see what we can do against Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid. I know we're going out to them too. We ain't good enough, nowhere near good enough to get anywhere in either of those ties. But it would be nice to see where we're at. Maybe, just maybe, by the time we face them, Saka, Martinelli come back. But who else is going to get injured? That's what I mean. Who else is going to get injured by now till then? I feel like whenever we bring one back, one gets injured. It's crazy. Let's see what else he's saying, because there's a few things on here on Twitter today that I've been reading from him, which is the one I've just read to you now. That has surprised me. We've got everybody in training, which we've seen, which we see quite a lot of in time for tonight. Got Ben White always working with a smile. Calafiori smiling. Marino smiling. We've got Partey and Timber in training there as well. Declan Rice back in training. So, hey, what a big game he's got to have to bounce back. Martin Odegaard likewise. We've got Wanyeri today, who he said apparently he's just got cramp and fatigue. He's going to be fine for tonight. Thank God, because we've only got him. That is it. Otherwise, Sterling will have to come in. And then we've obviously got the after the pictures of training, we have got this. So he's been asked apparently on the sporting director. Okay. Who is this Boston guy? Stop wishing injuries on our players. It's disgusting. Who the hell is wishing injuries on players? Who's been wishing injuries on players? What are you talking about? As if I was sitting there going to hope everyone gets injured. You absolute... What are you talking about, man? Shit, me. Some people, they love to hear what they want to hear. I'm going to watch this toxic, negative guy, and I'm going to twist anything he says. I'm going to make sure he said that we wants everyone to get injured, this man. I'm going to type it. You absolute numpty. What are you talking about? Unless you're talking about someone in the chat. Because that certainly ain't me talking about that. What are you even trying to... What a wally brain, as Del Boy would say. What a pelonka. Unbelievable. Stop wishing on injuries. What an absolute moron. Anyway, let's keep going. So he was asked on the progress of appointing a new sporting director. I mean, what is the progress on it? I mean, he doesn't know, right? He doesn't actually know. Yeah. So trust me, it's absolutely mad to think that he doesn't know. We definitely don't know. He says that's the question for the club. They're in a position to give better answers in terms of timing and selection than I am. Our plan is to nail the process. Here we go. Another process that we believe is the best way to try to find the person that's the best one for the moment that Arsenal's in right now. Oh, bless me. That's what the club is trying to do. So you do know what they're doing then. You don't have an update, but you know they're looking for someone. That's basically all you know. It's absolutely mad. It's mad that we have not got a sporting director still. We went the whole window. One of the most important. One of the most important. Thank you very much, Alex. One of the most important in history. And wow, we've done nothing. And we don't have a sporting director. Sorry, man. It's absolutely mental, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm sorry, man. I do not get it. Let me bring Matty on. He's just message. Legend. Let's bring Matty on. He can replace Lee for the moment. Look, I've got to be real. This is an absolute madness. Our plan is to nail the process. I mean, everything's a process at Arsenal, isn't it? There's literally a process in every single thing that we do. I mean, it's like they're teaching to suck eggs, isn't it? If I want to get out of my door and get into my vehicle today, there's a process. I always trust the process to get from my house to my car. Unbelievable, man. It really is just a mad world that we live in with Arsenal. Everything's a process. There's a process to appoint a sporting director. Yeah. Well, when we going to get one? I don't care. Yeah. Who it is and what the process is. I just want to get the guy in. I don't care if it's a Larby. I don't care if it's Marco Nipe. I don't care if it's Scoro. I don't care if it's Stotari. I don't care who the guy is. Just get the guy in, because this Jason Ato plonker has done nothing. But these guys are all stating how fantastic the guy has done. Please do me a favor, man. Spare me the details. Jason Ato's done nothing. Nothing, this guy. And then you'll speak to people who know, yeah, no, he's done quite a lot actually behind the scenes alongside Edu. People don't realize. Madness. Let me bring Matty in, man. Yes, my bro. What are you telling me?
Brother? How you doing, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Lee's overslept, ain't he?
Yeah. We was up late last night. Me, him, and JB was up late last night, man. So
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. We were up breaking down, watching film of these players that were supposedly not available. There was no market opportunity. So
no market opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And what do you make of this here? Have you read this? Apparently, there's a process to appointing a new sporting director. Thanks, Mikel.
I mean, Dan, how many processes are we gonna go through? This is more. We have more processes than a court. I mean, when you look at where we are, and I was just, it's funny because I was just arguing with someone, not arguing, but I was just trying to tell somebody, that this whole thing has just been a mess from the rip. It's just like, it's like we're in year 5. In a year 5, we're halfway through a season. We've had a sporting director leave at the beginning of the season. There's been no mention of the new sporting director. The season's coming to a close. So who's going to do the business in the summer, Dan? Who's going to do the business in the summer? Arteta's going to be there. I mean, these are questions that should have been asked as soon as Edu came down. Okay, so if he's leaving, who do you have lined up to come in? Who's the next in line? Well, now it's Ato. So now we're going to go down this road of another novice who got coffee and donuts and juice. Make sure everybody had staplers on the desk. Make sure everybody had pencils and paper. Make sure that everybody adhered to the meeting minutes. And then we're back on this again. And also, Dan, you take all of that and then you place everything that we're dealing with football-wise. Injuries, lack of players, money being spent. It's a mess. This is a mess. This is a textbook mess. And it's not just one person, Lee. Dan. It's everybody. It's the board. It's the manager. It's a collaborative effort of failure on all fronts. All fronts. In year 5, brother. In year 5, 800 million spent. I mean,
honestly, man.
Seriously, we should have already had that. Should have already been taken care of, and it should have, at least if the director's coming in, we should at least, he's coming in next year, because this is usually about the time when you start hearing when people are getting ready to move around anyway.
It's mad. Bro, this Edu thing is mad as well. Like how we can put this guy on just garden leave and just leave it out for now, put this guy in interim charge. It's a nightmare. But I'm hearing excuses from this guy, and here's another one, right? So Ben White's back now, right? He was back. He was at the start of the season. Obviously, he got his injury because Arteta was playing him injured, and he's had his operation. And this is what he said on White. He said he's a player that's given us something very, very special, especially on that right-hand unit. We haven't played with that right unit at all this season. With him, Bakayo, and Martin a unit that's played so much football together. It's now great to have him back. It's more options, and his energy, the way he's around the team, and what he generates, he's certainly been missed. Now, look, I'm a lover of Ben White. I think he's a great player. I think he's been brilliant on that right-hand side for us, right? But this is what I don't like about it, mate, right? He's basically saying we haven't been able to play with Ben White, Bukayo, and Martin for the whole of this season. So again, people will say he's just stating facts, Dan. That's correct. But it's an excuse, Matty, as to why we've potentially not been where we were at last season or season before. Because what you need is a squad. So when one of those components is out, somebody comes in and you don't drop off that much because you have adequate cover. And we have not had adequate cover since Mikel Arteta has arrived. People say to me, we've got a squad, we've got cover, we've got players that can come in. Correct. But are they adequate players? Because he's just rightly identified yet again. Last season, he didn't trust Fabio Vieira or Reece Nelson. This season, he doesn't trust Raheem Sterling. When is he going to trust that this squad that he has put together now, which has consisted of what, over 31 players? 31. It's a madness, bro.
These are his players, Dan. People, he's talking like these injuries, like these have been year-long injuries. He's talking like oh man, I hadn't had these guys in 2 years. They're all back. This is the same team. This is basically the same team that he had the last 2 years and couldn't get over the line. The fourth to fifth. These are the players. And then this year, I can't remember the number. Somebody in the chat will tell me. If you were to combine the amount of games that all ever, like especially soccer and Havertz never missed, it's only been a handful. He's acting as if he's trying to paint this narrative, Dan, as if this team has been without these players for 3, 4, 5 years. Man, this is an excuse. I told y'all last night, he's reaching for straws. When you're at this stage, he's reaching for straws. He's trying to find anything because he knows that the end of the season is still a ways off. This is what we normally see in April. We're in February. We're in February on the doorstep of March. And we're getting these kind of press conferences. And it's been the press conferences this year have been getting wilder and wilder. It's he's running out of ammo. There's no excuses. We came into the season, Dan. We knew what we needed. We needed a striker. We needed adequate backup for a couple of the players. We knew this. At minimum, 3 or 4 players. He sent players out on loan. He sold players. He didn't replace them. He did not replace the players. And now you've got a section of the fan base saying, oh, it's the board. No, it's this manager. The manager has not managed the money and the resources that he's been given. And he's paying for it. And so now instead of him coming out saying, yeah, I kind of mismanaged things, man. I thought I could do it, handle it this way. What did you hear Pep say when they were on that downturn? What did you hear Pep say? What did Pep say? Yeah, I kind of made a mess of it this year.
Yeah.
That's what he said, right? You look at Arteta, what is he saying?
Oh, it's the referees, it's red cards.
Yes, red cards, it's balls, it's it's wind, it's rain, it's snow and ice and all this stuff. He's finding excuses. The manager has no accountability whatsoever. And that's the number one trait as a manager. You have to take accountability for your actions, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch. And so when he goes into these press conferences, he's going into these press conferences and he's trying to spin the narrative. Woe is me. I've worked miracles over my dead body. All this stuff. It's grand. You know what it is? It's grandstanding, Dan. It's grandstanding. That's all this is textbook grandstanding. What's the narrative going to be tonight if we don't win? What is he going to say then? What, man, if I had a player like Chris Wood, maybe we could do, what is he going to say tonight?
Well, we'll find out, man. This is hilarious as well, right, mate? Right. Well, listen to this. This guy, man, I tell you. This is what you're talking about. I'm a miracle worker. Look at what I've been able to do. He says, I think we've made big strides this season. Well, you've gone out of competitions again domestically. You in the Champions League with no attack, and the Premier League is done. That's a huge stride, is it? Okay, we'll continue. He says there's no team in Premier League history with 5 red cards and the amount of injuries that we've had in the position that we are today. It hasn't been done before. So he's saying that no other team could do what he's done with this Arsenal team, that every other team that has this amount of red cards and injuries would be a mid-table side and out of the Champions League. And I'll repeat what I said earlier before you came on. That means this arrogant guy believes that any other manager waltzing into this position right now would have us around about 12th with Palace and 25th or out now of the last 16 of the Champions League. That is where this squad is. So how much does he rate this squad then that he's put together? If he believes that this squad he's put together wouldn't get anybody with a few injuries to Havertz and Saka and Martinelli anywhere near second place and in the last 16 of the Champions League. Mate, this makes sense, mate.
Well, see, you just answered it, because this manager is built. This is his project. He's built this from the ground up. He's got the bricks. He's got the cement. He's got the wheelbarrow. He's got it all. He's built it. He's put the foundation. He's built the house. This is his team. And for him to come back and say, I have to work miracles with this team, that's quite damning for him to say that. I've had to work miracles with this. After 800 million spent, Dan, there comes a point where there's no more excuses. If you'd told me he had 75 million like Unai had, and he could only get half a window, and then you got to try to bring players up from the academy, you got a loan here, a loan there, you know, because we're in Europa League, stuff like that. I could kind of, okay, yeah, you've done fairly well, you know. But then when you spent 800 million, you spent 52 million on Jesus. You spent 27 to 30 on Zinchenko. You got players that hadn't been seen. You got Tierney sitting on the bench, won't playing. You know, Tomiyasu injured in and out. You know, here today, going tomorrow. You've got
One thing's for certain, I would have bought a striker, bro. Let me tell you that now. With 800 million, you ain't bought a striker yet. What's happening here?
Exactly. And then you look at this year. Dan, this is why I said this year is the biggest malpractice of all, because we came off the back of 2 second place finishes. So therefore, if we're coming off the back of 2 second place finishes back to back, then surely you can look at the team and go, you know what? This is all we need. We need X, Y, and Z. But instead, he goes out and buys more projects. Calafiori, Marino. This is why I keep telling people, I keep going over this all the time. They keep saying, oh, they didn't back him. They gave him, it's obvious they gave him some money this summer because he bought 2 players. He bought 2 players and another goalkeeper. He didn't buy what he needed. And so now he's paying the price for it. And for him to come out and say he's had to work a miracle, no, you put yourself in that situation, Mr. Arteta. You put yourself in that situation after spending this amount of money. So if the board came to him, or if the Cronkies came to him in January and said, now we got to pump the brakes a little bit. We got to pump the brakes. We'll have to try to revisit this in the summer. It's no need to get mad because you spent the money. Then if your kids came to you and told you, Dad, I cleaned my room, I cut the grass, I washed the car, you give them £100 and you say, hey, here's your allowance. You go, do what you want to do. And then they come back to you on Sunday and say, I need more money. And you say, well, what did I do? What did you do with the money I gave you? Well, I went and bought hot dogs. I went and bought chips. I went and bought crackers. I went and bought, a shirt, I need more money. I've given you the money. It's up to you to spend it on what you need to spend it on.
Yep.
This is what's happened with this football club this year. And this is why we're paying for it. And we're going to keep paying for it. This is why I said what I said last night. This season is going to be very, very long because normally we would deal with this kind of stuff April, May. It's usually a 2-3 week window and we're done. We're in February. We've got to deal with more of these wild press conferences throughout the entire rest of the year. And the narrative is going to get worse and worse and worse. Now, watch this. I guarantee you he's going to start speaking this narrative about Saka coming back into the team and Martinelli to try to build up hope in the fan base. And he's going to try to lock them up. And then you'll find out right as they get ready to get close to coming back, oh, they have a setback. They have a setback because we all know they're not ready to come back. For what? Come on, Dan, there's no way these players should be coming back this year. Now, Martinelli might be a little different, but we know Saka is not prepared to come back. And now he's going to be rushing back players. And then people are saying, like tonight, you watch look at the team he puts out tonight. That team is going to be the same exact team that he played on the weekend. He's not changing. This manager's stubborn. He refuses to acknowledge his faults. He refuses to change. And when a person is inflexible like that, it usually means for the worse, because you're going to end up paying for it at some point. And he refuses. He just refuses. He thinks he knows it all. And then this is his first job. This is his first job. He's talking like he's been doing this for 30 years. Like he's been around the block 1 or 2 times. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's week after week, Dan, these press conferences are getting crazier and crazier.
Facts. Absolutely facts. It is definitely looking crazier and crazier. Let's do some super chats and a couple of questions that have come in, and then I'm going to throw some questions to you, Matty. This one comes in from Omar. It says, Darwin Nunez is set to leave Liverpool this summer with Slot not happy with him. He's going to sign for Arsenal this summer. You heard it here first. Omar, it would not surprise me, mate. Another project, another damaged player that Arteta can save. Would not surprise me at all. So we'll see what happens there. Bob says, phase 6 for Arteta is the making excuses phase. Do you know what? I think he's been doing that since phase 1, bro. He makes a hell of a lot of excuses, this guy. Let me tell you that. Mr. Burns says, what's the process for getting the guy out? Yeah, there's a process for everything, my bro. Trust me. Shane says, Dan, have you seen some fans are gassing up and celebrating the Raya versus Ward Prowse foot race? Yeah, man, I see this. The other day when Raya come out and he did that Cruyff turn and run back, and all the fans are getting excited now, saying that was what's the most entertaining part of the game. What are we doing here, man? We lost the game 1-0. Like, what the hell is going on here, man? Honestly, it's scary. Big up to Cooper for the super sticker. I really appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. Pineapple says, can the panel please clearly acknowledge that the majority of Arsenal's fan base, 50%, that's not the majority, by the way, would like to give at least 2 more years before they get tired of not winning? Matty, this is what's wrong with the fan base, if this is true. Now, there is definitely a section of the fan base. I'm not going to guess what the percentage is. Perhaps you would like to. But there is definitely a lot of the fans that are still saying they're patient with him. They totally agree with him. I have never seen any manager protected in football or sport as much as this guy. I do not know where it comes from, mate. But any time you question him, have concerns about him, you get a side of the fans that are just so protective that start screaming and ranting and keyboard worrying at you because all of a sudden you've lost faith in a manager that they think is going to be able to dominate English football. And I don't get it, mate.
I'd say probably 91% of the fan base is still backing this manager. But
wow, that high. Wow.
Yeah, I think 91% of the fan base is still backing this manager. And the only thing that's going to change that is the embarrassment that goes throughout this year. This is why I keep saying it's going to be the embarrassment. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take embarrassment for us, for people to start changing. A lot of people want to see it blows me away, Dan, because he wasn't this much loved when he played for us. I didn't see the love for him when we played for him. I mean, yeah, think about it. And people will say, "Oh, he was the captain of the team." Yeah, but he was riding off the back of Sanchez, Santi, Ramsey, Giroud. He was in the team for some of the worst whoopings we've taken as Arsenal fans. And then he becomes the manager. And so all of a sudden people keep going, oh, well, man, he's going to do this. He's doing that. And he's this and that. He's that. Brother, the man had no experience coming to the job. All we know is that he gave out hot towels and put down cones over at City. He comes here because he's Arsenal manager. We're going back into high heaven. And then when it doesn't work out or it's not working out, we're going to still have the faith. This is year 5. Dan, I told you, if it was year 1, year 2, I'm right there with you. I can understand, I always believe in backing the guy 2 to 3 years. But when you start seeing that you're seeing repetition, the same problems. You're seeing this when you watch these games over the years. You see he's not learning this, he's not learning that. You're seeing the same things pop up. Clearly, he hadn't learned anything. I keep telling people his main flaw. You want to know what Arteta's main flaw is? Is his inability to apply practical coaching in situations during the game. That comes from a lack of experience. And his lack of experience is killing us. It's killing us. I mean, flat out killing us. A textbook example is the Newcastle game. Yeah, you're down 2-0. You're going to have to figure out a way and come up with a philosophy to get us back in the game. He can't do it. Watch if we go down to goal tonight. Watch what happens if we go down to goal tonight to Forest. And you see, and you start looking at it. He does not have the ability to assess a situation. You only get that through experience. This is why I keep saying he should have never got the job from the start. Arsenal is not a training bite. It's too big of a club. If he would have started out in maybe, Elche, Eibar, somewhere like that, and just got some experience, he will be able to see things differently. But the fact that he has no experience, he shows up on the fan base, he looks good, smells good, nice drip. And so then they back the man. And then year after year, they keep backing. Year after year after year after year. It's become a cult. This is the closest thing I've seen to David Koresh, Jim Jones, for all the older hair. This is drink the Kool-Aid stuff right here. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. I know a lot of people don't know who I am, but as an American, I can tell you, we don't tolerate over here. We have a low tolerance for coaches that don't get the job done. It's very, very low. I'm going to start doing you like I do Kenny and them, show you how many coaches get fired on a daily basis over here for no success. Because it's just you. There's no way that you can sit in a position, Dan, and have the amount of money and resources that you've had, and you've not been able to get something over the line. Not get something over the line, and people are still going crazy like, oh yeah, man, he's gonna do it. It's the hope. People are hoping he's the next Wenger. And I said it last night. If the man was removed, if we could get him out of here, you probably would get the next Wenger. Because if the team was good enough to compete for two years back to back in second place, it's probably just needs some philosophy training. Most of these players need a new philosophy. They need to hear a different voice. They're hearing the same thing. They're hearing lemons. They're hearing you'll never walk alone. They're hearing the pit. They're seeing pit pockets. They're seeing dogs running around. They're seeing all this other stuff going on. They're seeing the manager come out talking about it was the ball. The players hear that. The players, if we hear it, Dan, if we hear it, and if the chat hears it, then of course the players hear it. And Dan, you know what's going to be crazy? You know what's going to start happening soon? Players are going to start shutting themselves off from this man because they're going to say, "This is year 5, man. What's changing?" And if he doesn't change, guess what they'll do? They'll change scenery. They'll change scenery. They'll go somewhere else. They'll go to where they can get some explanation. I got sent something this morning, Dan. Somebody said this was absolute gold. I'll send it to you in a little bit here. They sent me a list of the players that came in to Bayer Leverkusen under Alonso. This is within the last 2 or 3 years. He hadn't spent much money at all. He spent loans here, a few here. Of course, they got Granit Xhaka, and look at what he's been able to do in the amount of time and less time than this manager with almost unlimited resources. It's down to philosophy. And people don't want to face the facts that the manager's philosophy is lacking. His philosophy is lacking. And as someone just stated in the chat, some of these players are comfortable with being in the situation that they're in. Think about that too, Dan. If you've got the same team for 5-6 years and you've got these players and you can't get over the line with some of these players, don't you think you need to adjust a few things here? Don't you think, yeah, you know what? You've been here for a while. Maybe it's time to move on. We'll get you to a nice team, and then upgrade on that player. We're not upgrading on players. Think about that,
And we
Dan.
haven't upgraded on players, man, for a long time. We haven't upgraded. I said to you last night, and I'll say it again, that we bought better players were in the Europa League. Since we've been going in the Champions League, it's like job done. What can we get by with? Sterling on loan, Marino for 30 million. Let's go and buy another player in Calafiori. We don't need another left back. We've already got 5 at the club. And then I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll neglect the other positions yet again for another season, man. Let me throw this super chat at you because it's specifically for you, man. It's something you said last night, bro. So, Anton, big up to you, bro. It says, Dan, please ask Matty why he thinks Arteta will walk this summer. Go on, bro.
I think what's going to happen is I think that because of how, I'll say it again, how much time is left in this season and how many games. And I think the results, there's a couple of factors there. I think that, and I think too, he's going to want to leave in such in a light that doesn't, they sacked him. It's better for him to say, you know what, I've gotten this team to where it needs to be. It's more actually heroic for him to do that. And it'll build the fan base, they'll rally around him. The Arteta, they'll rally around him. Oh, yeah, he's left us in a great position. He's done this, he's done that. He's been, and he can then ease out the door. If he's sacked, he's got to really sit down and do some soul searching. And we know he's too arrogant for that. He's too arrogant to allow himself to get sacked. So he'll say, you know what? I'll manipulate the system. I'll walk at the end of the year. Because, see, look at the games we've got. Look at what's left. Players are dropping like flies. He's in a mess. He's already stayed. If he talked about walking after we bottled the league 8 points to City, what is he talking? Surely he's got to be thinking about it now. And I know people keep saying, "Oh, he just got a new deal. He's got a new deal." They'll give him a severance package. They'll give him some nice change. They'll give him, instead of 15, we'll give you 9, 10, 11. And did you ease out the door? Don't say anything. Sign this right here. Just sign this NDA for the next 7 years. And then when you decide you want to publish a book, you can talk about this whole situation. And we'll bring you back to sell the book. Arsenal will bring it back to sell the book. So this situation that we're in right now is such a mess that I think the pressure is going to get to him. I think you're seeing it in these press conferences. This is just the first phase. What you're seeing right here in this press conference. And you're seeing that this manager's running out of ideas. He's saying, look at the stuff he's saying. He's saying, over my dead body, a ball. He said, this is wrong, that's wrong, red cards. Dan, don't you think when we were in eighth, going to fifth, don't you think that how many times did you hear complain about red cards when we had Shaq in the team?
Yeah.
Yellow cards. Yellow card counts. How many times did you hear him complain about it? And we were in a worse situation then than we are now. Now all of a sudden, a red card makes the difference in these games. Oh, it's that's
bro. I grew up on bloody Keown and Vieira getting sent off every game, and we won stuff, so no one cared, man.
we set up last night. It was funny. I don't know if JB's in the chat or not. He'll tell you. We set up last night, and we was watching some game last night. We was watching 2 or 3 games last night, and the teams went down to 10 men. This is like recent ball, by the way. I can't remember who they were, but it was 10 men. We watched 2 or 3 teams last night that went down to 10 men, and they were coming back winning games. This manager does not understand how the game of football works. He's played it. It's one thing to play it, and another thing to coach it. He does not have the applicable knowledge as a coach to coach the game of football because he doesn't have the experience. He's learning on the job. And it's costing us. And it's going to cost us. When I look at that schedule, I told Lee and JB last night, I said, I'm being honest. I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm trying to find 9 points. I don't see where they're coming from based off of the situation we're in. Now, if we had Havertz and Saka, I would feel a little bit more confident. But because we're in a team where I think the next highest goal scorer is Marino. I'm being serious. Marino is like, what, 4 goals? 5 goals or something like that? Then it's Magalhaes. And then in the Champions League, Havertz was the highest goal scorer. He's gone. Then it goes to 4 goals there. Where are the goals coming from? So that's how I can say, I don't know. It ain't looking too good. And based off of what I saw last night, I don't know if you saw the athletic highlights last night. Oh my word! You better hope we don't get them. Everybody's talking about Madrid. You better hope we don't get Atletico, because it ain't looking good. It's not looking good. Because if they could put 4 on Barcelona, imagine what they'll do to us. We don't have the tools, Dan. The manager cannot get the best out of this team. If he could get the best out of the team, he would have got it last year or the year before last. Especially the year before last. We were 8 points clear. 8 points clear. And you can't navigate that, Dan. I've been one that said I would have sat them on the spot then. Because if you can't get the lead with 8 points, how do I expect you to run down a team like Liverpool? Liverpool would have to help us. We're not catching them. They would have to help us. But guess what, Dan? That team is set up so well that they could lose a player or two. I keep hearing everybody talking about, well, if Salah goes down, then this is that and the third. I guarantee you Slot will get the best out of that team. It's like I told you all last night after we got off the air. I said the kids beat us in the Carabao Cup last year. The kids, the children, Saved by the Bell, Doogie Howser, they beat us last year in the Carabao Cup. So they've got something set up over there to where they have something, break glass in case. And then with us, if something goes down, it's the end of the world. Oh man, we the red card. I tell you what, man, the PGMOL woke up this week and they decided that Arsenal was in the crosshairs. We're not gonna let Arsenal win the title this year. We can't rise above the referees. How many times have we seen Manchester United rise above referees back in the day with Fergie time and all that stuff? How many times have we seen United have to do that? Rise above the situation. City, when they were on that crazy run, when the highest points tally, then it's excuses. The excuses are running dry.
Well, I've just checked, right? Havertz has got 9 goals. Martinelli's got 6. Saka's got 5. All 3 of those are out, right? So at the moment, the fit players that we have got, Trossard and Marino have got 4 goals, and Magalhaes has got 3. Gabriel's got 3. That's it.
So then tell me, where is it coming from?
Ranieri's got 3, and he's played about 7 games.
Where is it coming from?
Ranieri, he's the only one we've got, bruv. Ranieri's the only one that lights me up and gets me out my seat. Trossard has fallen off of a cliff. I don't rate Marino or Sterling through the middle. I want to see a different formation. Partey and Rice, I don't look to them for goals. Odegaard, I don't look for him for anything at the moment, and I'm struggling to even call him a leader from what I'm seeing. The only thing we've got is set piece Ale. When was the last time we scored a set piece? Oh, December 2024. We haven't scored a set piece in 2025, and we're in March. So this is the thing. It's worrying, bro. It's really worrying. And I don't get it. But look, man, last 2 bits I've got to go through is these bits here, which was the comments he made about Saliba and Saka and their contract renewals. I'm sure we're very aware of the contractual situation of every player. So they'll be dealing with those kind of matters. Have talks started? I don't know.
He said, I don't know. He's the alpha and omega of this football club. He doesn't know. You know if they talking. You don't want to talk about that Saliba because Saliba ain't talking to you. That's what that is. Saliba ain't talking to you. They've started, but not with you. They've started with Madrid. I can guarantee you this. Let me tell you something, man. This manager wants to come out here and play word salad with everybody. And I'm telling you now, these players are getting tired of it, especially the senior players. You don't think for 1 second, Dan, that Saka has sat home during this entire time and watched this, and his agent or whoever his advisor is said, look at that right there. That's the team without you in it.
I don't know.
Look at that team. Look at that team without you in it. And you're gonna go, yeah, you want to renew your contract right now. No, brother, you better see what he's gonna do for the next year. And that's what these players. Why you think Trossard keep keeping the contract? Hey, you want to renew it? Nope. Saliba, nope. Saliba has an IOU for Arteta. Oh, I remember what you did when I was on loan. I remember what you was about to do when I was on loan. And then he got thrown into the team, and it worked out for him. It saved him again. Somebody saved him on a gamble. And now he's come out. How many times have we heard this year? He's talking about he wants to win trophies, wants to be successful. I'll tell you what, Dan. Let's do it this way. Me and you both old school. let's do it this way. When have we seen this? When have we seen this? We've seen it with who? We've seen it with RVP.
Yep.
We've seen it with Nasri.
Fabregas.
We've seen it with
Sanchez.
Sanchez. We've seen it with Sonia. We've seen it with Clichy. We've seen it with Adebayor. We've seen it with Titi. We've seen it with Vieira. I mean, we've seen this. When the head is turned, it is a matter of time. Unless things change drastically. Nothing's changing drastically. These players see this. You see it in his play. Ever since earlier, what was it? Probably November, October that came out, that interview about the trophies. Look at his behavior. Look at him on the pitch. He's clearly turned. You know what the crazy part is? It's just not him. Macaly's just going to do the same thing. We know if the Brazilian can get a chance to get money, he's out. He's out. They're not going to commit to this man long term. They're not going to commit to him long term. And this is why, Dan, when you deep this thing, when you deep this whole situation, when you look at that wage bill, we talked about it last night, that wage bill. You see that wage bill in this team?
Yeah.
This is why we're overpaying on players. We're paying them crazy wages to come. They've got to look
when these guys' new regime took over, Matty, we were told, we're not going to be doing that again. When they get to the 2 years left of their deals, we'll be offering them a contract or they'll be gone if they don't sign it. Wage bills that are mad, like Kolasinac, Mustafi, Ozil, none of those will be happening again. We all knew it was lies at the time, but now they've just proved themselves. Zinchenko's on about 175k a week. Yeah. You saw the wage bill of Havertz. You've spoken about Jesus. Party's on a mad money, which is why, no one's going to be wanting to or has wanted to put him on a contract with his injury record for that much. Jesus will be the same. We'll be losing money on all these players, mate. Party, I think, has been a great signing. I'm not going to lie. I like Party a lot when he's fit. But Jesus has been a flop, bruv.
52 million. 50 million. Dan, this is what I'm saying. It was funny because we had a discussion. We had a discussion last night. This is actually what kept us up last night. We was watching some players, and I told Lee, I said, Lee, we're not doing the old Wenger, deal of getting players that are like 3 million, 4 million, 6.5, 1.5, 7.5 million. Arteta's going and getting the Fabio Vieiras of the world on 30 million and paying wild wages. So when you can't get rid of the player, Dan, guess what? You're stuck with the player.
Yeah.
You're stuck with the player.
My boy Charlie's got a question for you, man. Big up to Chazza in the chat. Matt,
Neither
Arteta
of
or
them.
Trump?
Neither of them. Neither of them. Both of them crazy. It's two of the same.
Neither is the answer, man.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna pull my screen up. I want to show you something.
Yeah. Go on, do it, bro. Do it. I'll share it, man. I'll share it. There we go.
Let me zoom in here a little bit. This is what Alonso has done.
Oh, this is what you sent me. I did get this. Go on.
Yeah.
Talk me through this. Go on.
Look at this. Mbamba, 100,000. Pence, free transfer. Huerta, 2 million euros. Grimaldo, free. Arthur, 7 million euros. Hoffman, 10 million euros. Xhaka, 15 million euros.
What a signing.
Boniface, 21.7 million euros. Kovar, 5 million euros. Then we'll go down a little bit more. Stancic, loan. Teller, 23 million euros. Iglesias, loan, 1 million euros. Natalie, free transfer. Look at, where are the 75? Where are the 50s? Where are the 40s? Where are the 27s? Where are these? Where are this? Where is this at? Look at what he's done. They have went in and identified talent, Dan, that can get the job done properly. That's
this is
another one
why,
I
Matty,
thought
when
about.
I've said, when people say to me, who do you want then? I'll give them a list, right? When I get to Xabi Alonso, it's the only one. They're like, because if you don't want an old dinosaur, washed up manager that they call him, yeah, in the list of it, then go and get Xabi Alonso. He almost did a invincible treble, mate. Yeah. And the guy is his best mate, funny enough, ironically. Yeah. Arteta and him are best mates, grew up together. So when I say, oh, who do you want, Dan? And then I say, Carlo Ancelotti, he's washed. Look what he did at Everton. Simone Inzaghi, you think he's going to leave Inter Milan? Diego Simeone, he hasn't won anything for 3 years. And then you keep going and going and going. And you get to Xabi Alonso or Zidane and they start to go, oh, yeah, Zidane, he won't come England. And it's like they're really around, right?
Yeah,
What can I say? Xabi Alonso, yeah, he might as well keep Arteta. He's the same. What'd you get? Everything is an excuse. You cannot. So in the end, you just go, okay, cool. When he
yeah,
leaves, then I expect you to go wherever he goes because you don't think
yeah,
there's anybody better.
yeah.
Because you go, Arteta says, yeah, do you know what? My time here is done. I've tried, I've done my best. And I genuinely do believe he has done his best, mate. I don't think he's tried to fail.
The
I
fail.
think
Yeah,
he has
yeah,
genuinely done his best. I just don't think his best is good enough to get us across the line. And when he does eventually go, whether it's 10 years, 10 months, or 10 weeks from now, when he does walk out and he goes to the next, I don't know, Valencia job or whatever it be he goes to, yeah, because he won't be going to PSG or Barcelona or Real Madrid like some people believe he will be, or Man City, right? I expect those fans to go and support Valencia then, because they have put him above the club so many times, this fan base. They are willing for Arsenal to try to build the CV of Mikel Arteta. That's what some of these fans are trying to allow this to happen. And I don't want to have a brilliant CV of Arteta. I want to have a brilliant trophy cabinet, mate. And if you said to me, we're going to be having 15 managers in the next 20 years, Dan, 15 managers, I'll go, right. My next question is how many trophies? 21. Okay, I'll do it.
we got to
Or we
rock
can
with
keep
it.
Mikel Arteta for that 20-year period. He can be the most longest serving manager at Arsenal at 25 years, it would be, right? In the next 20. And he will be there, but he'd have won 2 FA Cups. And there's a section of the fan base that will like, well, at least we'll have the longevity and at least we'll have this PR spin crap. Just give me the bloody trophies, man. I grew up on winning. That's why I support the red and white, because we were a successful, beautiful team to watch under the likes of George Graham and Arsene Wenger. Now, if I'm watching Arsenal right now, trust me, we are not beautiful to watch this season. When that guy come on my fan cam at the weekend and said to me, would you rather be entertained or win 1-0 George Graham football? There was 2 things to that. One, I'd rather win George Graham football way because you're winning.
Yeah.
And 2, are you telling me you were entertained at the weekend against West Ham? Are you telling me that was an entertaining game of football? Are you telling me that although West Ham did their job and fair play to them because they absolutely schooled Mikel Arteta, yet again, Graham Potter, right? Another one like Howe and Emery that's got his number, yeah? I'm not talking about the Ancelottis and Zidane's having his number here, by the way, yeah?
Yeah.
We're talking about bang average managers that wouldn't get near Arsenal that are schooling our manager, right? That's what we're getting. That's what we're getting. Are you telling me that was entertaining to watch? Gabriel and Saliba passing it around like they're on a beach, yeah? And you've got Calafiori defending like that. You're telling me that's entertaining?
Then
Come on,
it's
man.
like watching Arsenal now. It's like what trying to take your final exams in college or high school. It's just you got it's a chore. It's a chore. And like you stated, for me, if the manager would have taken the job over, got the FA Cup, and then the second years after that, Dan, we challenged second and second. I'm like, okay, well, clearly this guy here has something going on. But when you starting to you second, and now it's already done in February, there's cause for concern. You've got to start asking questions. And all of this, Dan, the entire time since that FA Cup, not one Carabao Cup. Not one. Not one FA Cup since he won one. Not one. Champions League. Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. But they'll bring up that dinner plate though. Oh yeah, the dinner plate. They'll bring that up. They'll bring up the dinner plate and they'll tell you that he's got 2. I got 3. I've done it. Dan, the manager has reached his plateau. And that's life sometimes. Some managers are
that's what it
bridge
is.
managers. Some managers are bridge managers. Look at Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
Some people are bridge managers.
Yep. Look at
And
Pellegrini. Pellegrini won a bloody league, and then we got Pep Guardiola, Ranieri, done unbelievable at Leicester. He was at Chelsea, come second. They went, now we've got Mourinho. Klopp come in for Brendan Rodgers. Roberto Di Matteo, mate.
Yeah. I mean, look at him. Yeah. Scolari. Bridge managers. These are, Chelsea had a bunch of bridge managers. But in the same, while they were doing that, people love to go. They love to bring up Chelsea. Oh man, Chelsea, they got rid of folks left and right. Yeah, but they were winning. At least they were winning.
Under Roman, that's the best owner and most dominant I've seen a team, man. Like, you can talk about Man City and you can talk about the ruthlessness of Pep and Sheikh Mansour, but when it was Chelsea and Roman, it was just like brutal, ruthless. He is the most ruthless owner ever. It's like, yeah, Di Matteo's just won a Champions League. Off you go, son. Right, who we got next? Yeah, 15 managers, 21 trophies in the last 2 decades, won more than anyone. That says you have got a ruthless owner. Our ownership in 21 years, I've got a handful of FA Cups and win the dog. Like, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
You look at it's like when people take the piss out of Liverpool. I always tell people, hey man, you gotta have a little bit of respect for Liverpool, man. I said, even though they recently won that title, go back to 20 years and look at what they were winning in the 20 years that they had not won a title. We go 20 years without winning something,
Yeah.
And then look at our cabinet, how barren it is. And then we're in half a decade. Dan, we're half a decade with this manager. One FA Cup. One FA Cup in half a decade, going on year 6 now. That we will clap. See, a lot of our fan base didn't go through before the FA Cup showed up. After the Invincibles. Dan, we were clamoring for some silverware. We were begging for silverware. And then when we got to at the time it was Carling Cup against Birmingham City, we all thought that was we'll never win anything.
Yep.
The pain. And then what we do? We turn the heat up on Wenger. What happened? Started trying to find ways.
Just out of interest, Matty, right? What do you think this fan base would, as a majority, think right now if this was Arsene Wenger doing what Arteta's done? If this was Arsene Wenger and we're keeping him for another 5 years, everyone Wenger out, they're keeping him. The Cronkies get majority share ownership, total ownership, and they go, right, 750 million, Wenger, off you go. And he's done what we're doing right now. It would be absolute get the hell out of here, Wenger.
He's old and
5 more years. 5 more years without winning something. That's a sackable fence. Get him out. They'll be hounding down. There'll be the banners out. It'll be fireworks. It'll be horrendous. It'll be toxic. But now we've just changed the manager, and all of a sudden he's now doing it. It's like, give him time.
Yeah,
what the hell, man?
They would be, he's old, he's past it. Sack Turnip Wenger. You'd hear all kind of crazy stuff. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. Shout out to Tony Clark. Get him out of here. Tony. And they'd go, he's this and he's that. But then with this manager, give him time. We've got to bear with him. He's worked wonders. I told you, Dan. I don't know if it was you or Lee. Somebody told me he's brought us from the depths of hell. I had somebody tell me he's brought us from the depths of hell. Somebody flat out told me that. I said the depths of hell, man. We're headed to hell under this manager. And you talk about the depths of hell. Dan.
Oh, bro, you kill me, man.
It's wild. It's wild that this manager has been propped up like this. And hadn't done anything. Then he won the team he won the FA Cup with, he threw it away. He done with that team. And people always spin that narrative. Oh, well, look what he inherited. He inherited a cup winning team. he got rid of it to build his own team and hadn't seen a cup.
People think that Arteta was pivotal to winning that FA Cup. I'm going to give him credit for it. If it wasn't for Aubameyang, we wouldn't have won that competition, by the way. Yeah, let's just have it right. I know that, people might think that's petty, but it's just true. It's just true. Let me do these final super chats before we close, man. This is a good question from Sophie. Big up to you, Sophie B. I hope you're well, darling. Says, has Arteta actually improved any players? Because it seems a lot of the players are going backwards. Now, this question was last night. I think we spoke about it, right? I would say that the majority of the players in this first 11 right now, he has not taken to the absolute next level. Now, if you go through it, I don't think that he is, as much as I think he's improved Kai Havertz from his time at Chelsea, he's not turned him into a striking world beater. So you can't look and give too much praise there because we still don't really want him in the first 11. Bukayo Saka, in my opinion, unbelievable player. too good to not coach him. You know, he is unbelievable in my opinion. I think he's a quality player. Martinelli, however, has fallen off an absolute cliff under this manager. He had all the ability in the world and all the potential in the world. Trossard, when he come from Brighton, I thought, what a signing this is. This is fantastic. Not really seen him this season. Then you look at Martin Odegaard, who I think, when me and Lee argue on this quite a bit because Lee can't stand him. I think it's harsh. I think he's a good player. I don't, however, think he's one of the best creative midfielders that we've ever had. I don't think he's better than Cazorla. I don't think he's better than Ozil. I don't think he's better than Bergkamp. I don't think he's better than Merce. There's probably others I've missed as well, right? But I think he's a good player. Has he improved him to next level? Well, I didn't really see him much at Real Madrid, if I'm honest. So I can't tell you what he has or hasn't done with him. But he certainly allowed him to be into this first 11 and be one of our most influential players when we're going forward when he's on a good day. Then you look at our midfield. He's not improved at Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey, Atletico Madrid, was doing this, if not better. Then you look at Declan Rice. First season we got him in the 6, I thought, wow, he could really take him to a new level here. Now, decline Rice because he's trying to put him into the bloody Fabregas role. Yeah. Then you go to the fullbacks. He's still not got a left back that he's managed to bloody select. So you can't say he's improved any of them. Ben White, he's a centre back. He's put him at right back. So you could probably make a question there. Timber is far too early because it's his first real season, but I think he's been a really good signing for us. Have to see what happens next season. Saliba and Gabriel. Are you telling me Saliba wasn't ready when we were playing Mustafi Holding and Socrates and David Luiz? Of course he was, right? But phenomenal centre half, Gabriel. So other than Gabriel, Saliba and Odegaard, maybe you can make a case for Ben White. Out of the 31 players, how many has he actually improved? The answer is maybe 2, 3, or 4 at a push. That's terrible. And some would debate that he's improved them, by the way. So that's what we're talking about here. And one element there, one area of the department that he has definitely not improved, and I'm not having anybody tell me that he has, is our attack. Because every single striker or attacker that he's got near, has either left, become a flop, or are still stuck in the squad now that we can't get rid of. Willians, Sterling's, even Trossard and Martinelli we've mentioned, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah, Jesus. Other than Saka, bro, Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe,
Pablo
Murray, Cedric. How many of these guys, man? So look, even Balogun, right? Don't get me wrong. Wasn't particularly against the fact that we sold Balogun for that money, right? What was annoying was that we kept Eddie instead of him, right? But at the time, like, I didn't see him get anything out of him. So I don't know, man. I just think from attack wise, I can't see this guy taking us anywhere near forward. And what will be really interesting is in the summer when we do sign an attacker, if we do sign an attacker, which I think will be Benjamin Sesko. Everyone thinks it will be Isak. I don't think it will be. I think it will be Sesko. I want to see what he's doing with him because Judge has made a great point with me. And he said right now what this summer needs is it needs recruitment of players that are ready to waltz into this first team and take us to a new level. Sesko's not that guy because he's 21. Williams, I think, is around about the same age. Zubamendi, to be fair, would actually be quite a good signing. But are we going to get him? Question mark. Anybody else that we're linked with, it needs to be he's ready to take us to the next level. Alexander Isak type of player. Yeah, it needs to be that level. A Kvaratskhelia would have been an unbelievable signing for me in January. I know Lee doesn't like him. I do, right? Those are the sort of players that waltz into the side, in my opinion. And unless we get that in the summer, we're completely done, man. Let's do these last 3 super chats quick, Matty, and then I'll bring you in on these ones, and then we'll come to a close.
Yeah.
Go on. You're going to say something.
I was going to say this. This is to piggyback off what Judges said. It's going to tell us a lot about this manager. Can he handle big personalities too this summer? Because he's going to have to start buying players with big personalities. This has been one of my biggest complaints about him is that he's going to have to learn to manage in the world of football. You're going to have to deal with personalities that are bigger than you. And when he can finally do that, he might actually turn around his fortunes. But he's so scared to do it because of the experiences he's had with Lacazette and some of the older guys that we hear. Ozil and all them. He's going to have to learn to deal with that. And until he learns how to deal with that, he's buying these project players. He's buying these guys. I can, moving and all this. I can move. I can buy Sesko to play forward, but I have him at right back. He's going to be buying all these players to move around the pitch instead of buying the specialist, the man that's ready to go. And until he can get that through his head that he's going to have to deal with personalities, i.e. Ivan Toney, players like that, it's going to be more the same.
Ivan Toney, man, I wanted him, and everyone told me he'd be dreadful and they wouldn't be able to manage him and all this stuff. And I'm like, what is happening here, man? Honestly, just a crazy, crazy thing. Sophie says, thanks for answering that. Just as a Newcastle fan, I see the improvement in most of our players. Joe Linton, Hall,
Perfect.
Murphy.
Joel
Big,
Linton.
big, big, big,
Yeah.
big answer, man. That is spot on. Look at what Eddie Howe has done. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Eddie Howe. I think he's a great manager, but I don't think he's going to take Newcastle to new levels. I think they are going to need to upgrade at one stage, right? But look at what he has done to Joe Linton. Look at what this recruitment of Lewis Hall. Livramento is a really good player, by the way. Yeah, Alexander Isak, of course, you've spoken about. Anthony Gordon. Look at players like Bruno Gomares and Tonali is an absolute baller, mate. Yeah, I'm looking at this squad and I'm thinking, right, out of your 11, I think it's pretty neck and neck right now. Real
Yeah.
talk. They've definitely got a better front line than us, mate. You know,
Hey, Dan. And they had injury crisis this year.
Yeah, and last year.
And last year. And couldn't spend money. This is one of the teams I'm talking about. When this City thing is over with, it's 115. When this is over with, they're sitting there waiting to see what happens. They will be major players in the transfer market this summer. This Newcastle will be major players. This is why they ain't selling Isak. They've already come out. We're not selling. They're not selling anybody. They're gonna run it back. They're gonna add to, and they're gonna be in the picture. Eddie Howe's done a masterful job over there for what he's had to deal with and what he's had to go through with Newcastle. Just look how they deal with us all the time. 3 shots in 3 years at St. James's Park. Three shots in 3 years at St. James's Park.
Oh man, how the hell can we have had 3 shots in 3 years, bro? This is a joke.
Hey, Dad, before you move, and then we playing the team tonight that scored 3 goals up there. So y'all better get ready.
I'll get your thoughts on that quickly before we wrap up. Let's do these 3. We've got Nadir. Big up to Nadir. He's a Man City fan. He says, City are trying their hardest to get Florian Wirtz. Hugo Viana is their new sporting director, and he's already calling other clubs for the summer. I feel sorry for fans like yourself. Yeah, don't feel sorry for all of us Arsenal fans, though, Nadir. Trust me, because they ain't all like me and May. Trust me. Lou says, worst part for Arsenal is how long will players wait for success? It's been 5 years and Madrid are circling around Saliba. I think he goes personally. Well, look, he's going to go. I just don't know when. I hope it ain't this summer, but it could be. Real Madrid would fire Ancelotti despite how much he's won them trophies. Excuse me. If he'd gone 5 years without a trophy. Oh, God, yeah. Real Madrid, absolutely. He wouldn't last 5 months without a trophy, let alone 5 years. That's what it's like over there, man. Let me get your thoughts on tonight, bruv, before we do come to a close. You've already sort of given a bit of a hint as to what last night and just now about where you see it going. So we'll wrap up with predictions for tonight, man. What are you saying?
It's not going to even be close tonight. I predict we'll probably lose 4-0, 4-1, somewhere right around in there. They've just got a lot going forward. Our problem is we don't have anything going forward. I think if we had at least something to go forward with, we'd be okay. Forest, we're going away to Forest. That place is going to be rocking on the midweek Wednesday. They're going to be there. They're trying to make up ground to get it to qualify for the Champions League next year. Let's not forget, for some of us old fans, Forest ain't just some walk in the park team. I think a lot of our fan base don't realize who Forest is. This ain't just some walk in the park team. They've got a few European trophies, by the way, and so we're going to go up there. They might even do like Villa, might even have it sitting out to show us when we go to the game tonight, like Villa did earlier this year. and they're gonna come tonight. Odin Wingy, Chris Wood, Morgan Gibbs White, Murillo. Don't forget on corner kicks. Watch him tonight. They're going to make a tone for that game against Newcastle. Like I said, they scored 3 goals on Newcastle. We got 3 shots in 3 years. It's going to be tough tonight, and it's going to be rough. I'll tell you what, I'll be surprised if his manager comes out with a different team, Dan. What shock me is if he comes out with a different team and a different formation, then I'll be blown away.
Well, look, I want that. I believe I'm with TM. I think it will be 2-0 to Forest tonight. I think we lose. I don't think we're good enough. I don't think we're scoring, and I think we're definitely conceding. Murillo and Milenkovic are just going to have fun against whoever we put up top because they've been unbelievable as a partnership. Morgan Gibbs White could have some fun tonight. The players that I'm looking at tonight, if they do start, are Declan Rice and Erdegaard, because those two were absolutely stinking out the bluff. And Calafiori, by the way, as well, if he starts. For me, I would change completely. And it would be my team would be Raya in goal. it would be a three at the back, which would consist of Ben White, Saliba, and Gabriel. I would have Kieran Tierney and Timber as my wing backs with Partey and Rice in the middle. And then I would personally play Odegaard behind one area and Trossard. But I'm looking at Odegaard and Rice thinking, don't let me down. That's what I would do. What I think he'll do is I think he will go with the same team that played West Ham. The front three will be Trossard, Marino, and Wanyeri, Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. I think he'll go over back four, but I think it will be Timber left back, Ben White right back, and then Partey, Rice in the middle, and then Gabriel and Saliba in the middle, and then Rare in goal. Now it could be Calafiori because Lewis Skelly is obviously suspended, but I expect it could be that. So yeah, man, that's what I'm thinking, and I think 2-0 Forest.
This is probably the most important game this season for Martin Odegaard. This is the most important game of the season for him because he's going to have to atone for that crap we saw on Saturday. He's going to have to be on it today because if he's not on it today, I fear for his rest of his season because a lot of people are going to start to sour on him. He's not had a good year at all. 3 assists? Chat, I think it's 3 assists this year, maybe 4. 2 goals. Not good enough in that position, man. That's not good enough. Not good enough. And I'll say this about Odegaard. Odegaard is the type of player that needs to have whoever the main man is in midfield, he's the complementary player to that person. And then you'll get the best out of him. This is why he did fairly well at Sociedad. Look at who was around him. He had players around him that could mask his weaknesses and help him get to another level. There's some players just like that. It's like when we had Denilson in the team. You can build a team around Denilson, but you had Cesc, you had Caleb, you had all those guys in the team. So you were able to get something out of Denilson. And it's the same factor here with Odegaard. Odegaard needs somebody around him. This is why I say it's better to buy world-class ready-made players and you'll start getting the best out of players around them. But he's going to have to tonight, Odegaard, because he's the captain of Arsenal Football Club, is going to have to put on that armband and he's going to have to lead as a captain tonight after that shambolic performance we saw from him on Saturday. So tonight, he's going to have a big one.
Facts. Big up to Sophie as well, who says, by the way, Dan, Eddie got to the Champions League in a shorter time than Arteta with less money spent and is still there or thereabouts with no signings in 3 windows. Look, I'm not, by the way, Sophie, I wasn't saying that Eddie Howe should go, by the way. I personally feel like in the next sort of decade, Newcastle are going to be winning stuff. I just don't know if I see Eddie Howe there in the long term, but I rate him. I think he's done a phenomenal job in football in terms of what he did with Bournemouth and now what he did with Newcastle getting into the Champions League. We'll see. I also think you're going to have a very big summer, Newcastle. And I think, I was speaking to my boy Sam a couple of days ago and he said to me, I think Newcastle can go for a title next season. I don't think they'll win it. He said, but I think they'll be in a title race. He says he thinks they'll all stay in terms of Isak, Bruno, Tonali, etc. He thinks they're going to get Champions League in the top 5 or via the top 5. And he also thinks they're going to make the right signings. Now, if they was to go and get, say, Jonathan David on a free to back up Isak, they're going to got Brian and Mbeumo at right wing. They went and sorted themselves out at the centre back and in goal. They've got a really good chance of going for a title, in my opinion, because they've already got a great 11. It's just about how they bolster that to a 15 to 18 man squad. Yeah. So, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Newcastle as well. People always troll me for it because I
got 3 of my good buddies over here, man, from Newcastle. Guy used to coach.
Oh, really?
Coach Ball, yeah, he's from Newcastle, man. So
I just feel like they've had it rough under Rashley, and they kind of deserve a little bit of glory now. This is such a great city, great club.
Mike Ashley, bro, that dude,
that brother, absolute disaster, man, absolute disaster. But listen, Matty, love, bro. Thank you so much for coming on, man. And apologies, chat, that Lee weren't with us because he should have been. But we got Matty today, who's a great guest as well. So I appreciate you for coming on, man. Big up to everyone for allowing me to hit 34K. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. We haven't hit 1,000 likes yet, people. So come on, we've had well over 2,000 of you watching the majority. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, people, and make sure you're following my boy Matty over at Southern Gooner for all Arsenal content at all different times of the day to me, which is beautiful. So if you're thinking Dan's not, he's sleeping, he's snoozing away, Matty will be on, I'm sure. So make sure you're following and showing Matty some love, and obviously you'll see him on here on Lee's channel as well. So big up to you, man. Let's see what happens tonight. I think no, but there'll be some people in the chat that believe personally that there is an opportunity for us to take 3 points. And before we do go, big up to my brother Northside for the raid earlier.
Shout out to North.
I really appreciate it, man. Shout out to you, North. Big up to you, man. And listen, people, let's hope and pray that we take something tonight. Take care. We'll see you later. Big up.
Cheers.